Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Reporter's Notebook. For those of you who may be new to Reporter's Notebook, it's a really fun segment we get to do here at WNCT. Sort of towards the end of our work days, we get to bring in some coworkers in here to the digital studio and dive in a little deeper into those stories that they got to cover for you guys today, and just talk a little bit about what it's like to be a news reporter, what it's like to work at a news station. So today I am joined by Miss Madison Forsey.
Hello, Emily. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. This is my Friday.
I know, I was about to say.
Very excited for this day.
Definitely. So you're getting out of here before, the brunt of Elsa hits us tomorrow.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, I will be hunkering down at home.
Yes. I will be out in Beaufort.
There we go.
Standing in the, whatever weather hits us and telling you guys, informing you guys about that. So definitely stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of team coverage on tracking Elsa tomorrow. So, but moving on from that and getting into what you covered today, Madison, you are kind of covering, preparations ahead of Elsa hitting North Carolina. So what did you cover today?
Yeah, of course, with these storms, you can never be too careful because definitely Eastern North Carolina and the Southeast has learned our lesson time and time again when we underestimate a storm and it ends up being really intense and having a lot of negative impacts. So that's why I was curious today. I wanted to go out and talk to some of the local utility companies that provide power for most of Eastern North Carolina. So I talked to the Greenville Utilities, and I also talked to Duke Energy. And both of them were talking about how they never underestimate a storm. They treat every storm like it could be a major event when it comes to power outages. So they're constantly, trying to maintain things. And if you live in Greenville and you were driving along Evans today, or, just in maybe the past week, you probably saw utility crews doing that maintenance in real time. They were cutting down a lot of the limbs that were hanging over power lines to make sure, not just ahead of Elsa, but just in the summer season, that when it gets really rainy, the ground saturates, the roots of trees get really soft, and that can a big gust of wind can blow a tree over, blow a limb over. So they're trying to mitigate those things ahead of not just Elsa, but, the rest of severe weather season.
Definitely. So what other information were they able to give you ahead? I mean, obviously, like you said, we have no idea what this impact is going to be. We're going to have to wait and see how it plays out tomorrow. But did they give you any other information or insight into what they're planning to do ahead of this?
Absolutely. So they always have extra people on hand, and a lot of the utilities and power commissions all kind of work together. If there's a big outage in one area and a really severe weather event, crews from other companies will come and they'll help out. So that camaraderie is nice. But one thing they were saying is if there is a downed line, be sure to tell them. Tell whoever your power provider is. Obviously, never go near that downed line because you don't know if it could be active. It could send you to the hospital if it is active and you do get a big shock. So you want to be sure to call in those lines. And on top of that, a lot of people might have purchased generators. We're no strangers to severe storms. Sometimes we lose power in hurricane or tropical events. So if you have a generator, be sure that it's hooked up properly, because sometimes when the power goes out and you turn that generator on, it can actually send power back through the grid. And if there's a lineman somewhere down the grid working on, I don't know the exact terminology, but working on restoring power to some area, it could actually shoot a bolt to him and injure him or her. So that's one thing. They want to make sure that people have them properly installed. They know how to use them. And if you have a smaller one that runs on gas, definitely don't turn that on in your house. That's just going to create a really bad situation when it comes to carbon monoxide. So keep those running outside. Just be smart. And if you see something strange, tell your power company.
Definitely. And talking about this now, something, is kind of popping into my head ahead of this as well is, if there happens to be standing water, don't go stand in it. Do not stand in any sort of water, because water can conduct electricity. If there's a downed power line or down electricity lines and it gets into that water stream, you could get electrocuted. So please be very careful tomorrow, even just around any sort of standing water if we do get any type of flooding.
Yeah, and fences were another thing. They were saying if you see a downed line and there's a fence near it, it can be a great conductor of electrical energy. So it's just best to just make the call, have somebody else come out, and then get your power back on in a safe way. so you don't have to go investigate it.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Madison, for jumping on here real quick and talking about your story. I think this is super important, not only ahead of Elsa, but ahead of any tropical storm, any, storm in general, to just be aware of these things. And you guys can continue to stay with us here at WNCT. Like I said, we're going to have team coverage out at the coast tomorrow following Elsa and what impact she brings to North Carolina. So stay with us so we can keep you safe and informed as much as we possibly can here at WNCT. Thank you so much again, Madison, for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time on Reporter's Notebook.